Hello, everybody. Jeff Gibby here with MetaStock. I hope you're doing well today. Happy Halloween. Let's go ahead and get started today. We got a lot of things to talk about in the new features of MetaStock. I'm glad you could join us. Let's get to work. So the first thing, of course, we're going to start with is the legal disclaimer. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information on software and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock should have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So my name is Jeff Gibby. You guys probably know who I am. One of the things that I really love is all the changes we've been able to make to MetaStock since we've bought ourselves back to Reuters, and we have dedicated programmers that are working on it. And we have a full slate of things that I'm going to show you today. Here's just a list of kind of what we're going to go through, and I'm just going to dive into it. We're going to talk about MetaStock, about all the things that they've added. They've added 2 new power tools. They've added the ability to use legacy data or update legacy data in the downloader. They've automatically updated the symbol database. They have pre and post market data, 14 enhanced usability features, Elliott Wave, Martin Pring, RMO commentary. I'm even going to show you something that I designed and developed just for you at the very end today. So let's go ahead and get underway. First thing I'm going to show you is the brand new QuoteCenter application, or the QuoteCenter power tool in MetaStock. And I'm just going to go ahead and swap into MetaStock and kind of show you how it works. For me, QuoteCenter is an application that's going to allow you to look at stocks. It's going to allow you to work with lists a lot better. It's going to allow you to kind of be able to swap through lists really, really quickly and make lists. It's like our custom list manager on steroids, and it updates automatically in either real time or automatically in end of day, depending on what version of MetaStock you've got. So let me go ahead and open up the Power Console, which is where we're going to kind of get to there the first time. And the first thing that you're going to notice is there's quite a few more buttons over here on the left-hand side. So, and the first one, of course, what we're going to talk about is the QuoteCenter application. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. The idea with QuoteCenter is that you can either use it to build lists, or you can use it to kind of work with your existing lists. In addition, it's a real-time quote list as well. So you'll notice right here at the tab, we've got Build Custom List, and we've got a Use Existing Custom List. If I click on Use Existing List, you'll see quite a few lists that we've been making as we've been kind of demoing the new 17 here on our demo computer. I want to show you exactly how easy it is to actually kind of put together a custom list. So for example, if I wanted to build a list of stocks, maybe I had like 5 or 10 that I wanted to add to a portfolio, that's actually very, very easy to do. If I just like when you're opening up a chart in MetaStock, let's say that I have some positions in SPY right now. I'm just going to put the symbols up here. Maybe some DIA, I want to keep that on here. Apple, IBM. And I can actually just type as many symbols that I want up here in the list box, and just open up a list that way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take that out. I'm going to actually remove the ones out of Greg's watch list here, and also show you how you might build a list real quick of the S&P 500. So right down here, you've got a list. You've got a listing or a matrix of stocks that are available already. If you come down here into index constituents, for example, and just want to kind of build a list, like I like to have a list of the Dow Industrials and the S&P 500. I'm going to go with the Dow Industrials for now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this little check mark here. So as soon as I check mark that, all of those 30 stocks are going to appear right here in the Dow Industrial Average. And from here, I can go ahead and open up those particular securities. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a QuoteCenter list right here. And it's going to go ahead and automatically load these into a list for me. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. We'll kind of play with it a little bit, and I'll just kind of walk you through a little bit of what it is. So right now, since I haven't saved this, it's going to just be called QuoteCenter list number 4. Of course, I want to save it as something I can kind of look at in the future. So I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is actually click on this Save As button. So I'll go ahead and click on Save As. I'm just going to name it Dow Constituents. And then I'll go ahead and click on Save. And there you go, your list is saved. Okay. Down here, you're going to have an automatically updating symbol list. So you have a list of all of the symbols, whether they're up or down for the day, on the last tick, what the last price is, the high, the low, the open, the volume. Can you keep it quiet over there in the sound room, please?
I beg your pardon.
Hopefully you guys are enjoying the demo more than Gregory, because he's over there audibly yawning.
It wasn't a yawn. It was more of a gasp of unbelief of how awesome your presentation is.
All right. If you have, and on a side note, if you do have questions as we go through, just go ahead and type them in. All right. So here we've got the bid, the ask, the net change, and the change. So I'm going to go ahead, these columns you can move around. I'm going to go ahead and move the net change over. If I wanted to be able to see what was moving up either by net change or by percent change, which is what I normally like to look at, like let's find the stocks that have moved up the most in the Dow today. I can rank and sort on any of these columns. So out of the entire Dow Industrials, I can see right here that we've got 4 that are up and the other 26 are down. Okay. There are a few different themes as well. So if I click over here, I can change it to the dark theme. There's a dark orange theme that kind of looks like Zenith, if you're familiar with Zenith. And then there's a white theme as well. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move this over to kind of a full screen thing. The one thing I do want to point out is I can just double click on any of the symbols here. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up a chart for me. So anytime if I want to look at charts, maybe this is my list of the stocks that are in my portfolio. I just want to see what they're doing real quick. I can double click on it. It'll just automatically open up a chart for me. And of course, you can also edit the list in place. So for example, I'm going to jump off the Dow constituents list. If I click on this button right here, I can jump to any of the other lists that I have saved. So if I have a list of stocks that are in my portfolio, maybe I decided to sell out of one of them, I can actually just jump in. Let me go ahead and jump into the one of these lists. This isn't my computer, but let me look at this My Options list. So let's say we're looking at a list of, these are the options. I'll show you kind of how OptionScope works in a minute. But let's say we were looking at some of the charts in here. We wanted to kind of just delete one of them. You can delete it. Just right click, click delete, and you can kind of edit the list in place as well. So I love the ability of this thing to be able to kind of keep your work organized. So for example, hey, let's go ahead and keep a list of the stocks that are in my portfolio. Let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at the stocks that we're looking at. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. And it allows us, much easier than ever before, to actually go in, maintain lists, and be able to jump from different list to list in a way that has just never been this easy in MetaStock. So that's really the QuoteCenter list in a nutshell, or the QuoteCenter. The one thing I actually love about QuoteCenter is something I'm going to show you real quick. You guys know, if you've listened to any of the webinars or the videos that I do, that I think one of the most powerful functions in MetaStock is the ability to go in and do explorations, or what we call them explorations. So just basically full market scans. So if I go ahead and go into the Power Console, let's say I've ran an exploration. It looks like somebody's run an exploration in here. I'm going to go ahead and click in here to view all reports. This is another thing that we've added. And I'm just going to find a list that's been run recently. So right here, somebody scanned earlier on a MACD buy signal, for example. Okay, so whenever this was run, and it's really not important, the person that ran this in our demo machine was looking for buy and sell signals for the MACD, right? And so here's about 10 of them that on that particular day came up. And you'll notice it's Adobe, Agilent, Autodesk, Cadence. before, when you ran this type of a scan, you could go ahead and save this list out, and you can still do that. But the way my entire workflow has actually changed. Now, once I've run my exploration, I just open the list in QuoteCenter. So you'll see this new button here. It says Open All Instruments in QuoteCenter. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Those 10 instruments are going to load into QuoteCenter. And now I have the ability to go in here and take a look at the stocks that are actually on this exploration list. So right now it's saved as a MACD buy signal 1. You see the name right here. If I just click on this one, okay, I can take a look at it. If I like it, I can leave it on the list. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one on the list. I can take a look at the next one. If I like it, I can keep it on the list. If I don't like it, if it's not something I'm going to take a closer look at, I can just delete it off of the list. It makes it a much cleaner way of actually going through a list that you've scanned for, whittling down that list and finding exactly the ones that you want. So that's our QuoteCenter in a nutshell. And something that's just basically, it's a new power tool. It's revolutionized the way I personally use MetaStock as well. So let me go ahead and get out of here real quick. And we'll just go back into the PowerPoint. And
Hey,
kind of,
Jeff,
yes.
you do have a question in YouTube.
Okay.
The Silvery Stars wants to know if you can change data manually in QuoteCenter.
In QuoteCenter, you cannot change data manually. If you have data that's stored locally, Mr. Silvery Stars.
Great name, Silvery Stars.
If you open up the chart and it's a data field that's actually stored locally, so this is a local file, you can actually right-click on this. You can open the data sheet and you can actually change it right there on the fly. You can't do that from within QuoteCenter, but you can do that from within the chart. So it's not hard at all. Okay, cool. Thanks for the question too. All right, let's go ahead and jump back here. So QuoteCenter is a brand new tool. It helps you manage and work with lists. It gives you a real-time update of all of the stocks that you're looking at. I think you can view it. Does work with any data file that's compatible with MetaStock. So if it's online data, if you use MetaStock Zenith or DataLink, you'll be able to use it. If you have local data and you want to look at it, you'll be able to open up that local data. Again, you just double-click on the charts to open them up. You can open up any lists that you've got. It's a much cleaner way to create and manage lists. And, of course, you can sort and rank on the columns as well. So there's that. That's new. The other thing that we added, and we talked about sort and rank, a lot of this stuff I don't need to show you again because we did talk about it already. The other thing that we added is the new OptionScope. And I'm going to jump into MetaStock to show this to you as well. So I'm going to kind of come in here. And we're just going to go ahead and jump into the Power Console again. So again, what I'm trying to do today is highlight what we've added from 16 to 17, and there's quite a bit. So let's go ahead and go down to the OptionScope because that's another brand new tool that's been added. So I'm going to go ahead and click in here. If you're familiar with kind of the workings of MetaStock, you'll notice that the layout is very similar across the Power Console. Because with OptionScope, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at the options of one underlying. You won't have like check mark boxes. You'll just be able to highlight what you want to actually open. So if I wanted to open up all the stocks all the options for Apple, for example, I can just highlight it here. And just like anywhere else in the Power Console, if you want to type in a symbol, you know what you're kind of jumping to, you can just type it in as well. The other thing that you can do is if you're looking at a chart and you want to look at the options, you can right-click on the chart, and you'll notice right here there's an option to go into an OptionScope window. So there's a number of different ways to get there. Depending on your workflow will depend on the way you usually get there, whatever is easier for you. Back here on the Power Console, you'll be able to put in an expiration date range filter before you go in there. So what I'm going to say is I want to look at anything that expires within the next 90 days. So I'm going to go ahead and select that it expires within the next 90 days. For a strike price, I'll go with anything that's within 5% of the strike. And I'll just leave this expiration type filter to all. So this will pull in all the weeklies, the monthlies, the quarterlies, etc. Going to go ahead and open this up. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to talk about is what type, while this is loading, is what type of option data is available. So if you have Zenith, if you have the real-time version of MetaStock, you'll be able to use this with any optionable instrument in any country. You should be able to, like for example, if you're on London and you want to look at some European style options, you should be able to type in a symbol. And using Zenith, you'll get data back. If you're using, same thing with North America, of course, anything that has an optionable product, if you have Zenith, you'll be able to load it in. If you use Data Link, you'll basically, there's an options package that you can get. It's around $15 a month, and it'll allow you to pull any of the option data. Right now, that coverage, the coverage that we offer with the optionable data is North America, and we're looking to add more regions. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but for now we offer all of the U.S. optionable stocks for $14.95 a month. Again, that's important to you if you have Data Link end of day. If you already have Zenith, you don't have to worry about paying for that because you already have access to all of the options data. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make this full screen. What we've got here is we've got the OptionScope product. Okay, you'll notice over here in the corner you have the ability to go in and kind of refine some of those filters that you set. So you can go in and say, here's the exact expiration dates that I want. You can go in and change your strike price filter. So for example, if you have a lot of these and you want to look at them more near the money, you can just go ahead and kind of tighten that up a little bit. You've got different expiration type filters that you can kind of implement if you just want to look at the weeklies or the monthlies. And you can look at the in the money or just out of the money if you want as well. For your row calculations for the Greeks, you do have the ability to change the interest rate and the dividend yield. And if you don't know what you're doing with that, I'd recommend you leave them at the default value. Okay. Over here in the column, you do have a listing of all the calls and all the puts. You'll be able to see what the deltas are, the gammas, the thetas, the vegas, the rows, the implied volatility, the open interest. These columns are sortable. You can also go in and see how well that they actually trade. So the other thing that you actually have the ability to do, and I actually am very glad that this exists, is to also be able to go in and double click. So if I'm looking for something that's a little bit in the money here, maybe I want to take a look at this option price. One of the things that you have the ability to do is actually see how the option has been traded as a chart. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this optionable instrument, and I can instantly see exactly what the price action looks like. The volume didn't load in this chart just because it's not on the template, but I could actually come in here, add the volume to the chart, and this actually would have the ability to actually look at the chart option would have saved me from one of my worst trades, where I bought into an option that nobody was willing to buy off of me. I can see right now by looking at the chart and the volume that this particular option is at minimum traded. So if I buy it, I might actually be able to sell it. I won't have to let it expire worthless or exercise it. So the ability to actually look at those options is pretty handy. Would have saved me an expensive lesson on my first option trade ever. So in any case, that's the OptionScope product. And let me go ahead and kind of recap that. I'm going to go back into the slides here. Again, it's a brand new of our power tools. It allows you to look at the chains for any instrument that's optionable if you have real time. If you have Data Link, you can subscribe to options and get all the North American options for about $15 a month. It allows you to see all the Greeks, the delta, the implied volatilities, the gamma, the theta, all those update in on a delayed basis. And you can sort and filter and rank, and it is a good tool to actually allow you to see what option you're looking for before you go into the chart to trade. So hopefully that's a pretty good overview of how that works. So again, here's a spreadsheet. Again, there's a picture of the filters. Again, you can go ahead and chart them and that kind of stuff. The next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to kind of jump into the program and show this, but if you have the ability or the need to, if you download data and you're using a program other than MetaStock to look at data, a lot of the other programs that are out there use what we call a MetaStock legacy format. And so if you have a need to actually download the data and store it so that you can use it with a different charting product or a portfolio analysis product or something like that, we now have the ability for you to collect data in either the MetaStock local or the MetaStock legacy format. If you're already downloading data, I like to download data. If you're not using it with another charting program and you don't have a need for it, just keep using local. The new format of MetaStock data is much better than the legacy format. But if you needed the legacy format for whatever reason, you now do have the ability to download and store directly in it. Before, what you had to do is download it into the legacy format or local format and convert it over to legacy. You just don't need to do that anymore. Okay. Another thing that I love about the new version of MetaStock is every once in a while, you'll go in, you'll open up your MetaStock program, and it's just going to update all the symbols for you. So it happens about once a month. It's always automatic. You don't ever have to go into our website and download the new files and the new symbols. They're just going to be automatically incorporated in MetaStock now. So pre and post market data, I will show you how this actually works in MetaStock and how to turn it on and how to turn it off. So we do now have the ability to, if you have MetaStock RT, look at post market and pre-market data. And that's not what I meant to do. But let's go ahead and kind of just show you how that works in MetaStock. So I'm going to go ahead and close this option chart. And right now we're looking at a daily chart. That's not going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, we'll just open up a chart of Apple, okay, AAPL.O. And I'm going to go ahead and open that on a 15, actually let's do a 30-minute increment. I'm going to go ahead and click on Open Chart. If you want to look at pre-market data, this is pretty much what you're going to have to do. I'm going to actually change that to a 30-minute. I thought I asked for a 30-minute, but apparently I didn't. We'll go ahead and get the 30-minute data in. To look at the pre and post market data, all I had to do is right click on the chart, go to chart window properties right here. Okay. And right here under trading sessions, just click on this box that says trading sessions. I'm going to go ahead and turn on 24-hour trading sessions and include pre and post market trades. I'll go ahead and apply that. Go ahead and click on close. And now any pre and post market data will come in. Any data that happens before or after the market. I don't see a lot of people actually using this on a consistent basis. You know, the reason that I think a lot of people want to look at it is, like, for example, about a week ago, Tesla announced after hours earnings surprise. The stock was shooting up in after hours trading. And you might want to go in the morning and see exactly where it's looking to trade. So it's now available for you to be able to see exactly where those after hours market trades are starting to line up. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off right now. So again, same way, just going to right click on the chart, go to chart window properties. I'm going to go ahead and turn off pre and post market data and click OK. And my chart will return to the way I was looking at it before. So let's go ahead and go back into the PowerPoint here. Another thing that we added is a whole bunch of stuff. So, we basically, a lot of people were requesting different features. We keep a big database of that, and we listen to people. So you asked for, one of the first things that we did was we went in and kind of renamed all of the files and formulas in MetaStock to be more user-friendly. So if you're new to MetaStock, a good example of why this is important. As you may know, we have pivot indicators. We've had MetaStock pivot indicators in MetaStock since MetaStock 11. A lot of times we'd get new people or people that were just looking to find the pivot indicator. And for some reason, we called it MS11/pivot indicator, right? So if you knew it was in MetaStock 11 initially, you could go find it. There was a lot of expert advisors. The expert advisor for Candlesticks was called Equus-Candlesticks. And what we decided to do was actually kind of rename everything so it's more findable. And I want to kind of give you a little bit of insight into kind of like our thinking process behind that. So let's talk about the Equus ones as just a second. So you'll notice right here, there's a Candlesticks expert. This is the one that used to be called Equus-Candlesticks. Okay, so you'll notice right above it, there's a Bollinger Bands by MetaStock. So why is the one that's called Bollinger Bands by MetaStock, but it's not Candlesticks by MetaStock? It's a good question, right? Like, so the reason that we call candlesticks is if I attach it to the chart and I close the chart, it's just going to label and identify standard candlestick patterns for me. So here you've got the bearish harami, here you've got a doji star, here you've got an engulfing bull. Basically what you're going to get is you're going to get standard well accepted ideas of what functions are, right? And of course you can go into the commentary, you can see what a bearish harami is and stuff like that. With the Bollinger Band system, now the Bollinger Band system is kind of our take on Bollinger Bands. So if you attach that to the chart, it's going to use Bollinger Bands, but it's also going to use, I believe it's RSI, a momentum indicator, and it's going to look to give you buy and sell signals based largely in part on Bollinger Bands, but some other analytics. And so that's why the Candlesticks one is just called Candlesticks, whereas the Bollinger Bands one is called Bollinger Bands by MetaStock. It's basically a proprietary methodology for us that we developed and invented to kind of help you with give good trading ideas. So hopefully that makes sense. So
Hey, John?
yeah.
Sorry, Peter. Is this a good time for a question?
Sure.
Bradley Troche asks, how about volume indicators? And then he adds 25 above candlestick, and he says, where is the high and low? I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to, because you were just talking about the naming conventions when he asked that.
Yeah, okay. And it's they're decent questions. They're good questions. I'm not sure I understand either. So there are volume indicators that are in MetaStock. There's volume-based indicators. Those also exist in the program, and those are typically labeled by what you'd expect them to be. Like if I'm trying to think of an example on the fly, but like volume is just volume right here, right? Now, you might be asking, Bradley, how can I find, what if I want to find a stock that's 25%, where the body is on the top 25%, or maybe the wick is 20, I'm not sure what you mean with 25% above candlesticks, but maybe you want to look for the wick to be a certain size of the candlestick. You can write a scan for that. I think it's a little bit beyond the purpose of, or the point of this demo, but if you do reach out to us, we can help you write that exploration, and we can do it pretty much. If it's something that we have to get a programmer involved in writing for you, we can do that. But I'm not sure exactly what you mean. The high and the low, well, they're right here. So the high of the thing and the low is here. Sometimes people want to find, and I'm trying to kind of make sense of the question, but some people want to find the high within 25% of the open, or the open within 25% of the high. Things like that you can do. You can do just about anything you want to in MetaStock. Whether you want to write an indicator for it, or an expert advisor, or a scan is possible. Just get in touch with us, and we'll kind of, what we'll do is we'll sit down with you, talk to you about what you want, and help you figure out if it's possible. Okay? And you can give us a call at 800-882-3040. Ed Downs is, hello, Ed. This is for the Bollinger Band system in MetaStock, yes. And we're not going to really, we're not really going to go into the experts too much. I wanted to give an idea of the naming convention. But right now, the expert advisor that we are looking at is the Bollinger Band system. Okay, there is a buy right here. It is a fairly selective system, and again, it's our take on Bollinger Bands, which is why it's Bollinger Bands on MetaStock. Okay. All right, so there's that. Another thing that people want is the ability to back up user files. So you can just click on File right here, Backup User Files. Click Select Folder. You can put it in whatever folder you want. It'll make a backup that you can then import into MetaStock. Okay. Users ask for the ability to go in and reset all their charts or clear out all of their smart charts. Now, if you're not sure what that means, with MetaStock, any changes that you make to a chart are going to automatically be saved. Any indicators you apply, any notes that you want to apply, and sometimes you just want the ability to kind of start over. Maybe you kind of change your methodologies. You don't really care about your notes. Maybe you just kind of want to have a new template that you want to look at and apply to all of your charts and just start over. And so now if you want to clear out all of your smart charts, you can just delete your smart charts just from the File menu right here. You just click on delete smart charts. It's going to go ahead and delete all of those and reset everything to a factory setting, let's say. Okay. Faster load times. MetaStock, according to our programs, now loads 40% faster. We also made user memory. So now when you start up MetaStock, the exact chart you were looking at with all of the annotations, with all of the changes you made, it's gonna start up in exactly the same spot. Okay, we made the symbol search is faster. So when you're when you're swapping between securities, it's just going to be faster. I did show you the exploration results, and this is actually kind of cool. So if we come into the scanner, and if you love to use the scanner as much as I do, any scan when I go in and click on the reports here, I can either view the report for something I've selected. This is grayed out because I don't have anything selected, but I can also look at all of my reports. So if I click on View All Reports here, you'll be able to see I ran a Haguro midpoint cross, 5-day, and I'll be able to kind of drill into those explorations. All of those are available real quick. I'm going to cough for a minute, so I'm signaling to our sound guy to not blow out. All right. I'm good.
Jeff, since you took a pause,
Uh-huh.
The Silvery Stars would like to know if it's possible on charts to insert round trend line.
Insert a round trend line.
If I'm honest, I don't know what that is.
Not a rounded trend line, not like an ellipse or something like that. You can insert a trend line. Obviously, those are going to be straight. There are some ellipses tools and things like that are in MetaStock. If you come right here, there's a rotating toolbar right here that'll allow you to kind of do an ellipse or a rectangle or a triangle. By default, we don't have the ability to kind of go in and make a rounded trend line. They're always going to be straight, but you can kind of get around that with some ellipses and stuff like that. Ed, you're welcome. Thanks for coming today. Happy Halloween. How do you scan breakout stocks? Well, that's a little bit, how do I scan them? Okay. Well, one of the, this is certainly a little bit beyond the demo today, but look at the exploration in MetaStock that's called DT, that stands for Dynamic Trend, and then support and resistance. There's a couple of scans in here called DT, support and resistance. Those are really, really good for finding breakouts, Theo. So, and if you want, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/metastock, and do a search on that channel for the hidden gems. I talk about my 3 favorite things in MetaStock in that one, and I'll give you it'll give you a breakdown, a play-by-play exactly how that works, as well as 2 of my other favorite tools in MetaStock. So, and if you email me, I'll send you the link too. Okay. Let's see. Quickly manage multiple explorations in the console. They just made that a little bit easier to kind of organize. It's all on the same screen right now. They made the Power Console easier to read, easier access to creating custom lists. You saw that in the Power Console. You'll just use QuoteCenter to make lists all the time. Another thing that you're going to love is if you had MetaStock 16 and you had about 50 charts open and you made changes to all of them, you went to close them, you'd have to go, it would say, do you want to save this one? And you'd be like, yes or no, right? No. Do you want to save this one? And there wasn't like a yes to all or a no to all button. That's been added. Okay. They also made it the downloader capable of easily adjusting data, and both in the downloader and they made that a lot more easier. And that's what these 2 last things are. And they increase the consistency of when you copy an item in the Power Console. So those are all things people asked for that we just added into the program. So there's backup user file. We already kind of talked about all of these ones. Another thing I want to show you is, and I'm just taking a look at the time right here just to see how much time we have. 2 of the add-ons that we have for MetaStock, 2 of the things that we've included with MetaStock. And the first one that we're going to talk about is Elliott Waves. Now, Elliott Waves, basically what we did, if you've been a MetaStock user for a while, you might be familiar with our Alpha Mega Elliott Waves, which was developed by a guy up in Canada. The guy's name was Robert Tassi. And we had a very, very popular add-on, sold many, many copies that did Elliott wave counting and Elliott wave analysis. In fact, I'd say that the counting that Robert developed for this particular add-on is very, very competitive with products out there that are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And so basically, if you're not familiar with the Elliott wave analysis, I'm not sure we're going to go too deep down kind of the rabbit hole of Elliott wave. I'm going to save that for another class. But the idea behind Elliott waves is to break up the market. A lot of times when I talk about the market, I talk about how it moves up and down in steps. It goes up a little and comes back down. Then it goes up a little and comes back down. Waves are kind of the same theory. Basically, the market doesn't go straight up. It generally goes up a bit, comes back, goes up a bit, comes back if you're an upward trend. And so Aaron Elliott is the person that actually kind of put together all of this work. And this is an add-on that we literally used to sell for about $300. And it's just part of 17 now, okay? The add-on itself is actually huge. And out of the box, you're going to get 3 explorations, 6 explorations of 5 templates. Now, we do have an option, and I'll show you how to get this in a little bit. We're not quite done reworking on the whole Elliott wave add-on. The Robert Tessay add-on was about 300 indicators, about 32 expert advisors. There's just a huge amount of stuff in it. And so what we did in MetaStock is we decided to include just the parts that we thought were the best. We did buy all of the rights for the Tassie product from Robert Tessay for Elliott Wave, and as soon as we're done with it, which we just had with it, we're going to offer you the full add-on for free just on our website, and I'll show you where that's going to be in just a minute here. Okay, so here's a picture of Aaron Elliott. He focused on looking at this Elliott wave principle. It's a very, very famous principle. Basically, the idea is to kind of look at where we're at in the market and determine waves. Okay, there's basically quite a few different waves. There's what they call motive waves, which are waves that push the market. And on the chart, we'll open up a chart. We'll take a look at this. There's labels between 1 and 5. 1, 3, and 5 would be waves that are basically directional waves, while 2 and 4 would be interruption waves. Okay. They also have corrective waves and things like that, right? Let's go ahead and kind of just play with this a little bit on a chart. I think that'll be an easier way for me to show it to you. So I do have my chart of Apple open here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply the templates. I'm going to basically show you the templates that are included in this thing and basically kind of give you an idea of how they work. So if I right click on my open chart of Apple, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to Apply Template. And I'm just going to go to the Elliott wave. Okay. Now you'll notice, because I'm going to point it out, right? But you'll notice that there's an advanced, there's a high volatility, a low volatility, and a normal volatility. Okay. And what the manual recommends that you do with this, because I actually was reading the manual to kind of figure out, well, how do you know if I should use the normal volatility or the high volatility or the low volatility? What the manual actually recommends that you do is always start with the normal volatility. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Okay, and we'll go ahead and let it open up. Now, there were a couple of different templates there. I'm going to go back to that list just so I can talk to you about the differences. So you've got the advanced that uses a lot of indicators. You've got the high volatility. There's 2 versions of high, low, and normal volatility. So there's 6 total, 2 of each. The high volatility with support and resistance and without. Okay, the low volatility with support and resistance and without. So basically you have high, low, and normal, and the only difference between those 2 templates is if you want the support and resistance levels. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the normal volatility. Okay, go ahead and apply this to the chart, and we'll go ahead and let it open up. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down to a daily chart, so we can get a little bit of data in here and that kind of stuff. So right now what you're going to be able to see is you're going to see the one wave. You'll see kind of where the waves are labeled. I'm going to go ahead and kind of scroll out a little bit. And you can see right here we had a little bit of a question mark. Here's a one directional wave, 3, 4. You get the idea. Now, if we want to kind of lower the sensitivity of this, in other words, if we want to increase our wave counts. We want to get more counts. What we want to actually do is have a look at lower volatility figures. This is something that kind of takes a minute for me to get used to. But if I do want to kind of see more wave counts, what I can do is I can come in here to Elliott Wave. I can go to the low volatility expert. And what should happen is I'll actually get more counts. I always think, well, I want more counts, so I want to go higher. That's actually not true. What you want is lower movement between counts. So you'll see when we go down to the lower wave counts, right here what we've got is we've got 3 and a 4 wave here. You've got more of counts coming in. You've got more minor waves coming in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And likewise, if you want less counts, you can go to the high volatility where it requires a lot higher volatility to get the wave counts. It took me a minute to kind of grasp that concept because it seems a little bit backwards to me, but that's kind of the way that it works. In addition to that, if I go into the Expert Advisor, it does a pretty good job of actually outlining what's going on a chart. So I'm going to go ahead and view in the Expert Commentary right here. And if you're familiar with MetaStock, it's going to kind of break down what's going on a chart. So by default, I'm going to go ahead and push this to the very last day. But by default, what this is going to do is it's going to kind of give me a wave count or a wave summary on what's going on today. Okay. So on Apple right here, I'm going to go ahead and dock this off to the side. Elliott Waves Low Volatility Expert has confirmed a new wave of an ISO amplitude. Okay. This wave is labeled as a bullish wave 4. This particular wave is a corrective wave. And right now it'll tell you based on different volatility or amplitudes what wave patterns you're in. So on a very fast, you're in a bearish wave. In a normal, you're in a bearish wave. And then in a slower wave counting, you're in a bullish wave 4. Apple Incorporated is long-term bullish as the 140 as the moving average is rising. RSI is an overbought. And an important indicator for Elliott waves, the Elliott wave oscillator is at a 0.0 in negative territory, which is a bearish sign. So it does help you kind of break down on this. It gives you your weekly support and resistance. And if it has enough information, it'll actually give you a projected high and a projected low for tomorrow. And let me actually switch over to the slower normal volatility expert, and I think I can show that to you because I do like to actually see that on a chart. So you'll notice on this normal volatility, it's looking for larger percentage moves. Okay, if I scroll down a little bit here, it'll actually give us a projected high of 254 tomorrow and a projected low of 243. It'll also project the tops of your Bollinger Bands, which is pretty cool as well. Okay. This is a huge add-on. I don't think we're going to cover nearly all of it because I want to talk about some of the other things. But I do want to kind of mention that you can scan for waves as well. So here's an example of the motive waves, the directional waves. Really what it comes down to is people want to be able to trade, the directional waves. So you want to be able to scan for the stuff that's in a directional wave and how long it's been in a directional wave. And so in MetaStock, of course, there's a exploration that's available. If you run the wave, it's going to come back, and depending on the number that you get back from that scan, you'll be able to find stocks that are in either a wave A, a wave B, 3, 4, 5, or a wave C pattern. It'll be able to scan for exactly the directional wave that you want. And it'll actually tell you, so right here on this exploration report that you see, you'll notice that it says 6 dot, and then there's a number that follows that. So if you just look at the legend here, the wave 6 is a wave C, and the number behind that is 148. So this Target Corporation, when we ran the scan and put together this, has been in a wave count, or in a C wave for 148 bars is what that next number means. So again, you'll be able to scan for exactly what wave it's in and for how many days it's been in that wave. Okay, and I think that'll pretty much be what we're talking about with Elliott Wave. My goal is within the next several weeks to put together a much more comprehensive Elliott Wave tutorial to kind of talk a little bit about what Elliott Wave is. I need to prepare for that. It's a very complex topic, and hopefully I'll be able to make it a little bit interesting as well. So in any case. The other thing that we added, if you're familiar with Martin Pring, there's another add-on. It's called the Special K. Martin Pring is a very, very well-renowned technician. He's very, very famous in actually Singapore and Hong Kong and Asia. he has an indicator. Again, we've included an add-on from him that we've developed that incorporates his No Sure Thing, which is the KST indicator. Let's just talk a little bit about the No Sure Thing indicator. So right here, this is the KST, which stands for No Sure Thing. The No Sure Thing combines 3 different types of cycles. So you get short-term, primary, and intermediate. It's a combination of those market trends. And it's designed to kind of give you turning points at a relatively early stage. Okay. You'll get special K as part of the upgrade. In addition, you'll get the KST, the No Sure Thing indicator. So with that particular one, it combines the KST with the special K, which is a momentum indicator to give you buy and sell signals. It's a really well-liked expert advisor system. We used to sell it for $300. We're bundling that in with the upgrade for you for free. Okay. And then we added commentary for RMO. So there's a huge amount of stuff that's in this upgrade. One of the things that if you've seen a lot of videos from me, I do a lot of RMO videos. I've probably done a couple thousand of them. We actually put together some commentary to help you understand that system. So here's again a listing of the new features in MetaStock. You have the QuoteCenter, the OptionScope, the legacy file formats, the automatic update of the symbol database, pre and post market data, 14 enhanced usability features, the Elliott Waves System, the Martin Pring special case system, and the RMO commentary. And then I want to show you a little bit of something that's another thing that's available for you as part of MetaStock as well. And this is something that I've actually decided to include. So I'm going to go ahead and right here, we've got the, this is something that I worked on. If you just go to metastock.com, go to customer support, you'll be able to find this under our updates and patches site. And this is actually something that I worked on quite a bit. In MetaStock 17, we're going to make available commitments of traders data. Now, I'm also going to do another webinar on this one, but I wanted to show it to you because I've worked my butt off on getting this. I've created 93 different indicators, 21 expert advisors, and 21 layouts to kind of put this together. And basically, it's a report that publishes download every week by the CFTC, and they break down the market positions or the market constituents. Okay, this is a free download, and let me show you exactly how it works, and I'll give you kind of an idea of how it works. So, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this here. I'm going to kind of show you the different layouts here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on File, Open. Okay. And here's what's available. So you'll see we've got 10-year T-notes, you've got Australian dollar, you've got British pound, Canadian dollar, cocoa, coffee, corn, crude, dollar index, euro, gold, Japanese yen, lean hogs, e-minis, natural gas, whatever you want. Let's go ahead and look at sugar real quick. Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and open up coffee. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I think I actually want to close down a bunch of charts first, but we'll go ahead and open up the layout and see kind of how it looks. Okay, and it does take a second to load in this particular expert advisor, and I should have absolutely actually shut down a few of these first. So, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and let it open. So right here, you've got coffee. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with the CFTC report, that's okay. The Commitments of Trader report is basically a weekly publication. It's released by the CFTC, and the idea is that it breaks down different market positions based on kind of how they're reporting into the CFTC what they're trading. So it'll look at basically, it basically breaks down all of the open contract positions into commercial, non-commercial, other, managed, and producer. Okay. And so here you can kind of see this. I've basically put together all of these experts or all of these different reports to actually show you this. Now I want to tell you that this is actually free, and the data that underlines it is also free. So if you have MetaStock Realtime with Icon, you can download this and look at the Commitment of Trader report in MetaStock. If you have I meant to say Zenith. If you have Zenith, you'll be able to get this. You don't have to pay anything extra for the data. Or if you have Reuters Data Link, the end of day data service, as long as you have a data package that includes futures, you'll be able to look at this as well. So again, this is reported every week. And basically what the CFTC does is they go in and tell you, okay, out of the producers of coffee, here's how many are bullish, here's how many have bearish positions, and here's the net. And so I'm going to go ahead and close the commentary real quick and just kind of show you how you can kind of view this report. So let me close down this commentary. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chart right here and just kind of talk you through it. So we do have a chart of just coffee down here at the bottom. I'm going to make this chart full screen. And I'm going to kind of just walk you through kind of the design of this. So right here in this top corner, you may not be able to read it, but it says non-commercial, kind of a dark blue right here, okay? What you'll be able to see right here is a red line and a green line. The red line is how many of these non-commercial traders currently have net short positions, okay? The green line is how many have bullish positions, okay? And then basically the blue line right here is the net position, okay? So out of non-commercial traders, right now what we're seeing is basically net position of being negative, okay? Commercials are positive, okay? So right here you've got the bullish, you've got the bearish, your position is net positive, okay? And you can see how that's evolved over time. Underneath that, you've got managed in purple right here. The red line is going to be those participants that had managed that have bearish positions, bullish positions, and what the net looks like. Here you've got the producer number, again, bullish, bearish, and net position. And here you've got the other, okay? So really what this is allowing you to see is it's allowing you to see the market participants, okay? I'm going to go ahead and move this over. The view that I put on this other side basically just shows you net positions and open interest. So you've got open interest right here in the top. If you're not familiar with open interest, those are contracts that are open overnight, okay? You've got commercial, the net positions. You can see non-commercial, other, managed, and producer. So right now, if I was looking at coffee, basically other traders, which are going to be kind of like traders that don't fit any of the other categories, and commercials are right now net positive. Everything else is net negative, which you can see that on the chart. Okay, I've also put together basically an expert advisor to kind of help you also see the data. So if I come here and go on to view expert commentary, what you're going to see is a little bit of an overview of that. Right here, you've got your managed positions. This should match the colors that are over here. You've got the commercial positions, what their change from week to week looks like, non-commercials, producers, and a bit of a definition to help you understand. Okay, so open interest or open contracts, producers, merchants, and processors. Here's what those are, swap dealers, commercial traders, and it just kind of breaks that down for you. Okay, again, those basic commodities are available for about 30. I wrote them for about 33 different asset types, including like the T-notes, the Australian, the British pound, cocoa, coffee, gasoline, gold, those type of instruments that people are interested in. And we built this basically I wanted to provide something because I knew we were going to be making the FTC data available, or the commitment of trader data available. Wanted to give you a way to visualize the data in a way that was kind of meaningful. And so I really hope it is. If you have MetaStock 17 and you have a Zenith subscription or a Data Link subscription that includes futures, and you want to start to take a look at commitment of trader data, you'll be able to go ahead and download that from our website. It'll apply all of the indicators, so you can just open up the layouts. I'll do a little bit of a more exhaustive webinar on this in the next several weeks about what commitments of trader data is, different approaches to looking at it, and stuff like that. But I love commitment of trader data because it allows you to see really inside the traders, inside the trades. This is where people are lining up. Jake Bernstein, if you're not familiar with Jake Bernstein, likes to look at what commercials are doing because they're generally hedged. And this is something that I've learned. So if I was looking at coffee right now, everybody's bearish right now, right? Except for commercials, and they're bullish. But again, with commercials, their idea is they want to stay hedged on the market, which is also bearish. So there's a lot of different ways to look at commercial data or the commitment of trader data, but this allows you to kind of go in and see how people are lining up. What are the producers looking to do? You know, what are the managed funds looking to do? Where are people lining up and what do they expect? So I'll show you this in a little bit more detail. It is available completely for free as long as you have MetaStock 17. Go download it and start playing with it. If you see anything interesting or anything that you like to look at with it, let me know. It's data that's extremely interesting to me. So again, that's a freebie. It is a huge update. You know, one of the things that I've loved about kind of being our own company and kind of as the pace at which we're inventing things or creating things, right? With this particular one, we have 2 brand new power tools. We included just a ton of stuff. We're listening to what you want. I hope we're kind of hitting the mark. And you can go ahead and get a copy of the upgrade at metastock.com/just19. Give us a call at 800-882-3040. You can chat online with any of the sales guys here. If you have questions, metastock.com/saleschat. I do want to thank you for watching the video. If you've been using MetaStock for a number of years, I hope you love the option program and the new quote program as much as I do. I use them all the time. Thanks for watching the video today. I hope it was helpful. And happy Halloween, man. I'll see you at the next one.